I was able to find a super rare 6th supply drop on Buried City, giving me 9,600 points for the Search Supply Drops Trials Challenge. Buried City regularly has 5 supply drop beacons worth 8,000, but on very rare occasions there is a 6th. This is only the second time that I've seen a 6th supply drop across the 2 separate trial seasons with this challenge in it. I personally like Buried City for this challenge because the map is so small in comparison to the others. It makes finding the radio beacons very easy. You won't need much in terms of equipment for this challenge. The only recommendations I'll give you is to bring adrenaline shots since you'll be doing a lot of running. Zip lines are also nice to have to save yourself some time climbing up buildings. And it can be worthwhile to bring some explosives that can easily eliminate a bombardier that roams near a few drop points. Otherwise, pack what you need to handle the handful of smaller enemies you'll run into during this challenge. Once you spawn in, head towards the closest high point to you. Ideally, you want a full match for this, as it makes finding the radio beacons much easier at night because of the light that's on top of them when they have not yet been activated. However, you don't actually need to call the supply drop in to receive the trials points for this challenge. Once you search the container, you'll earn 1,600 points regardless of who calls it in. The radio beacons will spawn in one of these 10 areas, so based on where you spawn, plan to run a circular route to hit all the different spawn locations. The ones you want to look out for that can be a little bit challenging to get are in this red area here. Any of the supply drop beacons in the surrounding area can sometimes send a supply drop in this red area, which will have a bombardier and spotters covering it. You can sometimes breach and search the containers without being seen, but more often than not the spotters track you and make things a lot more challenging for you. If you brought in some explosives to deal with the bombardier, take it out and then use those beacons first. Outside of that, you only need to be mindful of roaming rocketeers that fly over a couple of the radio towers regularly, and other raiders that might be out for some PvP.
Whoa! Holy fucking shit!
Yeah, that was really close, not gonna lie.
As you run around, make sure you keep an eye out for other supply drop flares from other raiders. It helps immensely in locating supply drops from beacons you don't call in yourself. The supply drops will fly in somewhat randomly from the call station, but almost always within about 100 meters of it. If you find a radio beacon that's already been used, I recommend going up to it anyway so you can look in all directions from it to find out where the supply drop came in. It's generally easier to find a supply drop from the actual beacon location. Each supply drop will emit a faint noise when it's not yet breached that can sometimes help you find it. Once opened, you can find a variety of items. Mostly ammo, some bandages, an adrenaline shot or two, but you can also find weapons like the Renegade, Anvil, or even an Osprey. Outside of that, there isn't a whole lot to this challenge except simply finding the beacons, calling in supply drops, and looting them. Watch where the flare explodes, as that's where the supply drop will come in. Once you've found 5 to 6 supply drops, head back to Speranza, collect your loot if you haven't already, and watch your score climb up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching.